On sheet B, Finland versus Germany.
Leading for Slovakia, Monika Kunklova. The skip, throwing second stones, Radoslav Duris.
On sheet C, People's Republic of China
Throwing third
versus
stones,
Great Britain.
Peter Zatko. Throwing the fourth stones, Dusan Pitonak.
On sheet D, United States of America versus Slovakia.
These teams may not have a chance at the semifinals, but they have the absolute opportunity to finish this championship on a high note. Each of these teams sits near the bottom of the standings, but you can see those cues on the top. Canada, Republic of Korea, People's Republic of China, and Norway. They have taken the semifinal spots and will contest for a medal. United States of America sits at the bottom of the standings. With a win, they could jump up several places. Slovakia is going to look to hold them in place. And you can see how United States got here. They've got 2 wins, 8 losses. The leader of Team Slovakia, Radoslav Duris, he is going to do everything in his power to give this Slovakian squad one more win and hold their place in the standings. They've got 3 wins, 7 losses. Excellent wins against Sweden, Great Britain. They're going to want to finish this tournament. USA is throwing the Red Rocks. They are joined and supported from the bench by Megan Lino.
And good curling.
1분 후에 경기가 시작되겠습니다. 그럼 멋진 경기 기대하겠습니다. 굿컬링 파이팅!
Throwing the yellow stones, Slovakia. They are supported from the bench by Imrik Lioksa. Slovakia have adjusted their lineups several times in this championship. They believe they found the perfect combination, and it all starts with their lead. Monika Kunklova, Steve Empt from the United States getting ready, enjoying the fantastic environment in the Gangneung Curling Centre. And there she is. She is the one player for Slovakia who has stayed steady in her position. She started the tournament playing lead rocks, and she has played every game in that position. Her opening rock looks a little heavy, but it sticks around the back of the rings. Now we're going to get to see USA's game plan coming into full effect right away. They're not going to take any chances. They could elect to throw a corner guard and get the offense going right away, but instead they're going to go with settling in, becoming comfortable, and lead Penny Greeley will be throwing a takeout with her first stone.
That's it.
Very nice, Penny.
It's almost square and sits right there in the back of the rings.
I feel like, oh, and I'm like, gotta love it. Great people in Korea. Great people.
This stone looks like it's curling. You can see it moving from right to left. This needs to hold the line. It's just enough of the US stone. Knocks it out of play. And this gives USA an opportunity with that rollout by Slovakia.
4, 5, 5, 6.
So USA electing to keep it simple here in the opening ends.
12-5.
Good job, Penny.
Now we talk about the skip and the positions. The skip is the member of the team who dictates the strategy from the far end of the ice. Kind of is the final sayer of tactics. Any member of the team can be the skip. For Slovakia, it's Radoslav Doris, and he throws the second stones. And this one sticks around in the rings. Throws quite a bit of weight at that. This is an end sheet. We're on sheet D, and there has been a tremendous amount of curl that needs to be managed on the board side. Justin Marshall is going to open this championship, the final game of this championship, with a takeout towards the board side. Line looks good, weight is great, and right on the nose.
Good job, Justin.
Great opening for the youngest member of Team USA.
First one.
Now the youngest member of Team Slovakia. Just over curls. That board side is tricky. It's tricky on the board side. USA.
12-5.
Simple
12-5.
opportunity.
12-5.
That wide open miss. USA is going to try and land this stone in the rings. You can see the technique.
Gotta go.
Yep.
That's what I like.
Very athletic stance for Justin Marshall. Leans in over the rock, puts his dominant or focus eye right behind his hand at the back of the cue. And he's playing 100% so far today. Kirk Black makes his way. He's getting ready. He's going to save a little bit of time clock, coming all the way down to the other end already. Peter Zatko gets underway. Peter Zatko has also thrown the fourth stones for Slovakia this week. He is a strong new player for Slovakia. So USA still sitting count in the rings. So USA skip, Kirk Black, he throws the third stones. Lines himself up. And looking for really strong, smooth momentum through the cue and into the stone. Keeping that cue or delivery stick very level and in control.
Very nice.
It did look like
Beautifully done.
Good shot. Thank you.
And you can see by those angles, there's no double takeout available.
Turkey.
Slovakia is really, there is a double takeout available if they hit on a very tender angle, but they're going to look to hit and roll over towards the United States stone. So if there's a challenge for Slovakia, you can see that that rock doesn't have much rotation. And
Nice try. Very close.
when you don't put enough rotation on the rock, you're at the mercy of the ice a little bit and the mercy of the stones.
13.
Making sure you have consistent, good rotation helps carry the rock down the ice in a more true path that is repeatable over time, end to end, shot to shot. So Captain Kirk gets to try and repeat his first stone. This one looking a little bit hot. It's got a little bit more momentum. Needs to come to rest, needs to come down.
Set.
Just overthrows that.
Yeah.
Slides through the back line, the back of the rings, and out of play. Now opportunity to Slovakia. Dusan Pitonak. He gets a takeout of his first stone. And if he nails this one, they are sitting 1-2. And all of a sudden, USA goes from sitting 2 with that miss to now looking at 2 Slovakian stones in the rings.
Thank you.
That's the situation facing Steve Empt, 4th stones player for the United States. Primary goal is to take out the stone sitting in the center of the rings. They'd love it to roll for this shooter right here, to roll over towards the other stone.
Come on, work.
This has some curling to do. We talked about the board side being tricky. This stone just hangs on the center line. Do they get enough to get one out? It just gets out of the rings. So that's the difference there, being on one side of the center line versus the other on these end sheets. It's going to run straight, but once it crosses the center line, it should move quite a bit to the wings. Now, Slovakian, 4th stones. He gets a practice draw. So this is a great opportunity for Slovakia just to read the ice, settle in, throw a rock with no pressure. Connect to the speed of the ice, the shape of the ice, the movement of it, and they do so beautifully. Now this is a little bit better position. If Steve throws the exact shot that he threw the last time, he should be able to guarantee the United States a single point. The line looks good. They need to stick around. Looks like they're going to do so.
Go, babe. Come on now. Let's go.
That was a nice little bounce back for Steve Empt.
9-4? Yep. All right. Good start. Keep it going.
With that hit, USA takes a single point.
Good job.
Slovakia will have the last stone in the second end. Early game statistics. There are only 2 rocks per player thrown, only 8 rocks in total. Really, the difference maker is not how many shots they made, but when the misses happened in that opening end. And when third, second rock and Skip's first rock for USA were errant. They ended up being forced to a single point. Well managed, by the Slovakian back end.
Nice stone, Penny.
Beauty. Way to go, Penny.
13-1.
Penny Greeley is the most experienced member of Team USA. She's been wearing the red, white, and blue since 2011. This is her second Paralympic Games. And she's going up against the very steady shooting Monika Kunklova. They played against each other in Sochi, and they meet here again at the end of the round robin. An advantage goes to Greeley in the opening rocks of the second end.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
13, Ben.
So Penny gets to put another rock into play. She's looking for the same shot, just right down into the rings on top of the rock she just threw. Be okay if she taps it a bit. It's okay if she sits in front of it. There's a big window of her performance here.
That's good.
Definitely got tapped.
Nothing wrong with that.
Pretty close to the exact same thing. Now Monika gets a shot at redemption. With those rocks being so close together, she throws the same shot she just threw. She's going to make a double takeout here. The line looks good. It needs to curl just a bit. It's close. Does she get it? Does it go? Do they both go? She sits shot, and both USA stones out of the rings.
Nice shot.
What a shot.
Nice shot, Monica.
This is a fantastic effort from the Slovakian lead. Justin Marshall's going to try and remove that stone from play. Justin made his international debut just 2 years ago.
8-6.
He has only had one major championship, international championship,
For the brand.
before coming here.
Stuck it.
The future
Didn't
is
even
bright
move.
for USA. Now you can see that was a great view of Rado, as he is known, locking down his chair. And then Peter Zako, or is that Dusan Pitonak, comes in behind him and helps stabilize. So they want as little motion from the chair as possible. And this is close. Are they going to get this out? It spins just to the other side of the rings.
Do that, or I mean, obviously we're not going to guard that.
That or just
Frustrating
like top 8.
set of circumstances when you just needed a couple of more inches.
So,
No. I'll be in there.
go the other way.
That is just a strong and stable delivery from Justin Marshall.
Good weight.
And he
Shots,
continues
Braga.
his excellent play. We're through 2 ends, and Justin Marshall's at 100%.
Well, you can't.
I just like
simple takeout,
Got it.
rolls to the far side of the rings. Slovakia has not shot stone, but that takeout out there is not easy. When you're out in the wings, you're on the board side. It has been raining. There is a bit of humidity in the air, and that humidity in the air in curling means that there can be some frost on the ice. There are extraordinary ice makers in Mark Callan and Stefan Roethlisberger, and they are going to do everything they can to create perfect conditions for these athletes. But sometimes Mother Nature,
Okay, grab that.
she wants to have her input.
Look at it, nice and smooth. You got this, buddy. All night.
So getting the head of his stick stabilized on the handle of the stone. So critical. Laser focus.
Have to wait.
And that toothpick,
Have to wait. Come on.
that rock, you can see it moving. It is moving hard.
Yeah, stick around.
Is he gonna stick around? And
Yeah, perfect.
yes, just bites the side of the house.
9-1.
Great shot.
Well, I gotta remember that now. Coming back.
So it looks like Slovakia sticking with the takeout. This rock traveling down the ice. Slovakia could draw in there, but their game plan, they're gonna try and keep the house as clean as possible. Now USA is going to try and force Slovakia into a single point the way they did to USA in the first end. Zako, a great young player from Slovakia.
Very nice, Kirk.
Oh, and second time in a row,
Yep.
Kirk
9-4-7.
Black spins a rock right under the edge of the rings. Sticks around, and now Slovakia, they know that the double takeout doesn't get them much. It doesn't get them much, but they've got an opportunity here. They've got 3 stones left. They're just going to throw this rock down the ice, looking for a draw. They want to nuzzle up next to or freeze into one of the USA stones. They're okay if they tap it back. This looks a little heavy. But it's got stones it can run into. Throwing to the tolerance there. And now Slovakia looks to be the shot stone in the back of the rings. The rock thrown by Zako.
Sir?
Pivotal shot here for USA. You can see Slovakia count. USA has a rock in the rings, but if this shot isn't executed, Slovakia can simply draw to the open side of the house and set up a score of 2. And when you've got that last stone advantage, when you've got what's called the hammer in the sport of curling, your goal with the hammer is to score 2 or more points. This is spinning like a top down the ice. Lots of rotation.
Stick around. Stick around.
Just ticks the stone out of play. So that extra rotation, that rock runs a little bit straighter when you've got all of that spin happening. So USA doesn't curl quite enough to stick around in the rings, but they curl enough to get rid of the Slovak stone. Now it's probably a change of tactics. with the house wide open, only a single shot left to play for USA. Slovakia happy to play a takeout. And they just get zero production out of that stone. Now USA will split the
We're going
house.
out there, right?
I go the other way.
Nah, no need, no. Put another one in the house on the other side. We don't need to set up a double.
Harder to hit a double than
Force him to hit and stick. 13.
So you can hear the
13.
discussion. Justin Marshall wants to pile him up, maybe in another location. The man in charge of the last rock for USA is very comfortable with shot selection from Kirk Black. This looks a little spicy. He needs to slow down.
Stick around.
You're good.
And there's relief all around for Team USA. And now it's choice time for Dusan Paetonak. Does he throw the takeout or does he throw a draw? It's really what he's most comfortable with. There's no real right and wrong in this situation. You need to get 100% execution. They've gone with the draw. It's coming right down to the US stone. It's going to sit in front of it and count.
1 yellow.
Beautiful shot from Dusan Paetonak. He's got to be pleased with that. That's throwing against 2 stones like that. A lot of pressure. He handles it perfectly in the second end. And we are all tied up 1 apiece. Going to be playing 3 next. It's a quite evenly matched game, obviously. The score is 1-1. You can see there's a little bit of a discrepancy. The takeout percentage for Slovakia, they've hit and rolled out, and they've had a couple of misses. And USA might want to capitalize on that as they choose their tactics moving forward. So that's the kind of thing that these players have to track. We saw Monika Kunklova miss a takeout in the second end. So that's something for USA to remember as they move forward through the game. There might be an opportunity there if they need to create some space. But she's throwing excellent draws.
14.
USA finally throwing a corner guard. So they're trying to utilize what's called the free guard zone.
14-4.
That's a great guard, Penny.
Free guard zone is the space in front of the rings and over the hog line. So all the way into play, over the thick red line and in front of the rings. That stone cannot be removed from play until the seconds start throwing. Slovakia looking to answer, looking to create, take control of the space in the scoring area, in the center of the rings. A couple of stones on. USA is going to have to contend with those.
Hit the center one. Let's hit this one first.
So Skip Kirk Black wants a double takeout. He wants to hit the rock on the center line. Penny Greeley needs to hit about a quarter of that stone. She needs to throw quite a bit of weight. There is a hole there.
Good job, Penny.
That a girl, Pen.
She doesn't quite get the double takeout, but she does move those rocks to the edge of the rings, removes one and moves the other to the edge of the rings, and sits count for
8-9.
USA.
Yeah.
Quarter of the rock. She might have hit that center line stone a little bit thicker than they wanted, so hit a little bit more of it than they wanted. Didn't quite get the action off her shooter they were hoping for, which is why the double takeout didn't actually fully happen. And now Rado. With the takeout attempt. Now, opportunity USA. The hit and roll, you're not going to get over to those stones. You can see that stone biting the edge of the rings is undercover. Taking it out is impossible. But I love to see this from Kirk Black. This is Kirk Black's second international championship. He joined Team USA in 2017, and he started out as skip of this event. That amount of pressure is just incredible on a new player in a game that is this complicated. USA, after their 8th game, made a lineup change and moved their skip to the 3rd position and their 3rd into throwing the 4th stones. And it's really been a successful change. They might not have gotten the wins they were looking for, but it did take some of the pressure off Kirk Black. He said so himself. And it's a way for him to learn the game and, you know, take all he can from this championship. And he's making better and better, stronger calls as he goes through. He's making more shots, throwing in the third spot. And he's getting a ton of production out of his teammates. And in particular, this young man who opened up, having a bit of a challenging start, has come on strong.
You go see.
Got it.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Easy.
No, come on. Come on.
12-5. Need this stone to slow down. They wanted to curl a little bit. Slow down, tucked behind those rocks in front of the rings on the corner. You can probably see all of that rock from where they release the stone. But there's a possibility that they've got to navigate some things. This is the newest member of Team Slovakia. The other members of this team played in Sochi, Russia. And he looks like a seasoned veteran out there.
Banga, banga.
Yeah.
So the 3rd for USA sets the target.
Maybe a pinch less.
Got it. All day. Beautiful line, Kirk.
So in wheelchair curling, there's a couple of rules that come into play in the delivery. Your chair must be stationary. Your feet must be off the ice.
The center line.
Is this going to stick around? Is it going to spin back in? Sometimes it grabs the ice and spins back in. It does not. Slovakia an open house. They're sitting count 1 underneath the side of the rings. They're going to try and bury this rock on the opposite side. This has got great line. Look at it bending towards the corner guards. If it's got the weight, it'll carry even further. Really great shot. Sits up maybe a little bit shorter of where they would have ideally liked it to be. USA talking about the center line. Steve Empt missed in the first end. Kirk Black missed on his last shot here in the third. Hopefully third time's the charm for USA.
Shot, Kirk.
Nice shot. Thanks.
Well, they need to roll. Do they? They do. They are not count though. Slovakia still count on the corner. And how is Rado going to handle this? Is he going to draw around? Looks like he's setting up to draw around the rings. You can see it's just biting. If any portion of that stone is touching any portion of the rings, including that outside red line of the rings, it is potentially in scoring position. Pitonak. He has been a draw master so far in this game. He gets a chance to put tons of pressure on USA with this rock. It's got to slow down. It's not gonna. It goes all the way through the back of the rings. Disaster. What an opportunity missed for Slovakia.
Yes, sir.
Let's put that on.
Even if you nose that and push it back, that'd be good.
Yep. 13.
13.
So USA needs to move that stone. There's quite a few options here for Steve Empt. He can draw around the center guard. He can split 2 rocks on. If they were to throw about back 8, back line weight, just kind of go after it, they could split 2 stones on the rings. That's the kind of thing that Kirk Black and Steve Empt joined Team USA in 2016. So again, this is a very new team here at the Paralympics. That's the kind of thing that they'll learn over time. So that ice was for the draw around. And that's what Steve Empt does.
Let's go.
Hey, we got fans.
That stone sits in a very controlled position for USA. This is a high level of precision required. If this rock should over curl at all, they can touch USA's stone into the rings. Slovakia needs a big bounce back from Pitonak. That stone is curling. Is it going to hold the line? This was the straight spot for USA. Slovakia get by? Oh, they do not, but they throw enough weight that it knocks the center stone out of play.
12-7-5.
12-7-5.
Or 13.
Or 13.
Not the ideal performance for Pitonak in this end. Showed that he was human. And 2 misses from the Slovakian 4th stones thrower. Means USA's got a wide open house in which to draw its second point. Lots of rotation. That rock's going to run straighter. It's going to run a little bit further.
13-3.
It looks like it's pretty perfect. Just enough of the 12-foot ring.
Great Dan. Let's keep it up. Done nothing yet. Let's
USA pleased with their effort. They are the first to strike with 2 points while using their hammer. Rado Duris in Slovakia, they've got the hammer in the third end. They're down 2 points. They're going to look to catch back up. So Slovakia, they know what they need to do. Their precision just dropped a little bit in that third end. They let USA off the hook. They had a chance to put them under significant pressure, and their skip, the fourth stones thrower, didn't execute. Now, by virtue of scoring the 2 points, USA throws first in this fourth end of play. Traditional tactics, you're up on the scoreboard, you want your rocks in the rings. This is where USA has struggled this week, a little bit managing those tactics, the end goals.
You coming today?
13-9.
They wanted that stone in the rings. It's all right sitting up front.
Peel it.
It's not ideal for USA, and this is a chance. Take advantage of your very experienced, really steady throwing lead. Slovakia choosing to try and draw around the wide side of this rock. It is diving at the guard. Is she going to get by? Just gets by. Oh, and punishes USA. Beautiful draw to the top of the rings.
If we peel that, that's okay. If you run it straight back, that's okay.
So leads often throw pretty predictable shots. The rings are wide open. Not a ton of creativity needed for lead stones. And you don't get a ton of variety. Penny Greeley getting the run back call. USA's okay if they just merely peel that guard out of play. Remember, they didn't want that there to begin with. They're up in the score.
Yes, Penny.
And, oh, Penny makes a fantastic shot. The battle at lead is wonderful. Penny Greeley, Monika Kunklova, they are throwing outstanding shots at lead. So some of the heads on the sticks, they grab the handle, and every now and then they have a little bit faulty contact points. We've seen some of the players kind of breathe on their stick. We've seen them wiped on the pants, maybe on the sweater. They need to have a really clean point of contact so they can control these rocks. And that's a little light, but
Got this, kid. Go.
Monika pushes the rock, the USA rock, to the back of the rings. That's something that Team Slovakia can use.
Stone right behind your right wheel, Kurt.
Okay.
Yep.
USA's goal is very clear. Remove that stone from play.
Is he done?
Feel that heavy.
Wanted to stick around there and put pressure on their opposition. Just get half of the execution there. So this is the shot that Monica threw on her first one. Rado Duris is going to try and follow that same path around the outside of the corner guard and towards the center of the house, towards the center of the rings, the bullseye on the far end of the ice, about 35 meters away from him. This needs to slow down. It's going to stick around back in the back. Nice draw.
I've got
over half of it.
Yeah, if we peel the guard, that's
Oh,
okay.
you'd never know looking at his face that he just made a really fine shot. You can see it's half under cover.
I'll hold it tight. Give me this.
I'll give you what I had last time.
Okay.
8-8.
We peel the top, that's good.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
A little bit of movement in Justin's chair. You can see it, and it comes, it can affect the stone, but he ends up
8-8. Is he done?
curling enough, rolls out. And Rado's going to get to try and better his first attempt. This looks maybe a little lighter, not quite the momentum he was looking for. It's curling. Does it have enough? Is it going to get by the guard? No, it's just the difference in weight. You can see it was light, and the less weight a stone has, the less momentum or pace, it can pick up the curl earlier in the ice, and it's going to sit short of the rings. He was disappointed the second that rock left his cue. He knew he was light. And now USA, they're going to try and bury a rock the other direction. So we saw Slovakia come the outside. USA's coming from the inside to go around that rock that Penny Greeley used to run back on her second stone. USA throws a lot more rotation. And remember, that rotation means the rocks run a bit straighter.
Good shot.
It's good.
And that's pretty fantastic shot from Captain Kirk. Zacco has a chance. Control weight, take out. He can hit and roll. This spot's a little bit straighter. He's got quite a bit of weight. Gets the takeout, doesn't get the roll under cover, but USA's got to contend with that stone now.
Bang a bang. Good hit roll, Kirk. You got this, buddy.
So the technique, so important.
Good line. Come on back. Come on back. Come on back.
Lots of weight.
You got it. 9-2.
Ricochets off every stone in the rings. USA loses the shooter on that one. Just overthrown a bit.
Yeah, rattle all the way down.
So now we get a shift to the finesse shot. Zacco goes from the power shot and the takeout attempt on his last to the touch shot, the draw weight shot. Arcing into the scoring area, want to sit fully in that 8 foot, the white circle, under cover, perfect.
You got her.
Big 13.
So now you can see that stone, the Slovakian stone, is completely hidden under staggered guards. USA cannot run a rock back like they did earlier in the end. Their only defense in this situation is to follow the Slovakian stone down, that beautiful shot thrown by Peter Zacco, and sit right in front of it. So the USA stone arcing into the rings. It needs to be full into the white circle, and it comes up short. Comes up just short. Now that is a bit of a mental error for Steve Empt. He could afford to be all the way deep into the rings. It's a tough situation though. Look at the spacing. All USA needs to do with their next rock is touch that stone they just threw and tap it back. In order to battle that, Slovakia needs to draw around that stone. Now Dusan Pitonak, remember he had a tough third end. Missed both his shots in the third. It set USA up for a score of 2. With a made shot here, Slovakia will be sitting count 1 and 2 and really put the pressure on USA.
12-7.
And that's how you do it. That stone is in a near perfect spot for Pitonak and Slovakia. What an effort. USA is going to try and attempt a double takeout. A high precision shot. Very difficult. Any kind of miscue on this shot, Slovakia will have a chance to score 3 points. Oh, and there you have it.
They off the broom?
Just a bit wide on his shot, and that comes from the pressure Dusan Pitonak put on USA with his first shot, and it's going to give him a wide open opportunity. Follow it down. Same exact shot as he just threw. He's even got a bigger window because he can run into the rock. He can throw a little bit more weight, has a little bit of cushion for space. This rock looks pretty good. It needs to curl a little bit. Does he have the right weight? This looks outstanding. Slovakia gives up the 2 in the third end and strikes back with 3 points. Beautiful draw shots from Dusan Pitonak. Momentum changer. We go into the break. Slovakia is up by a single point. It's 4-3 in their favor. Those are USA heads on sticks in the crowd. USA paying no mind to the antics of the crowd. They're going to talk about these stats. They're going to talk about what they can do to move the needle in the second half of the game. They meet with their alternate and their coaching staff, get some information, refuel, and get themselves ready for the back half of the game.
All right. Sound good?
Okay.
Do it.
Go get them. Have fun, guys. That's number one. Have fun. Where's our baby at? Okay. Go get them, guys. Go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll grab some.
You're good. That hammer? Guard? That's the guard now down one? Yep. All right. Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. USA.
And Slovakia. Their second, he's their skip. He's had a little bit of a dip in production, in performance, working with their coach, going through their options. They've got the lead. They're going to look for a way to defend that lead. Talk about how the ice is moving, how they can capitalize on opportunities that or generate opportunities, given the way the ice is moving and the way they're playing. Both these teams need to take advantage of the second half of play. We know that their semifinal chances are gone, that they haven't had the performances either of them were looking for, but it is such a moment. Taking advantage of the opportunity, being on this championship ice in this incredible venue. There's so much to learn and so much to gain from these moments. It doesn't happen every day that you are greeted by adoring fans in the sport of curling and enjoying that moment, giving yourself a chance to enjoy playing. And Monica playing pretty to form here tonight. She's had some fantastic shots. She had a couple of errant stones, but really playing very steady and true to form.
Tanto brzi, Monika, neboj. Hovorím, tam pred tým, ja myslím, že keď zastáva, potom zastojí.
So that stone sitting in the control area right there in the center of the rings. USA, they've got the hammer. They're ignoring the stone. They're going to try and put up a corner guard.
Very nice, Penny. 13-9. Good shot, Penny.
Yeah, right.
And Penny puts that rock in a excellent spot. So Monica is from Nitra, Slovakia. This whole team trains with the Dubnica Wheelchair Curling Club. Oh, and she just sneaks a rock past that corner guard. They've got the three Agitos surrounded. Agitos, it's a symbol for the Paralympic Games. And speaking of symbol of the Paralympic Games, Penny Greeley's 89% is very high level of execution. She is all over this opportunity tonight. She's going to remove one of the Slovakian stones and then sit right on top of the agitos. Oh, that is a very difficult stone for Slovakia to remove. Their own stone in the back of the forefoot is holding the USA stone in play. So agito, that is Latin for I move. The base for the symbol of the Paralympics. The motto for the Paralympics is spirit in motion. These athletes show that spirit every time they set out on the ice to play these games. Rado playing a little bit softer than he has been this whole championship. He's going to look to move that percentage up a bit. He's going to try and start right here, and that's going to help. That's his experience, just that knowing how to play the angles, where to put the broom, how to react to these ice conditions. And Justin, in his first Paralympic Games, he's found his groove.
Now it wants to cross. That's quite a bit lighter for Justin, huh?
9-5. Yeah.
He's been throwing 8s.
8-6s.
So this is a pretty standard situation that you've got.
8-9.
And this rock's going to roll. And now USA is definitely going to head towards the corner guard.
Nice hit.
Slovakia did not want to roll that direction. They're okay that it rolled behind the corner guard a little bit, but...
Nice shot, sir. Beauty.
Yeah, with a 9.5 to 10.
Now this is USA's opportunity to switch from defense to offense.
What do you like?
Just about normal.
Throw that same weight. Or do you like an 11?
No, same weight.
8-9.
So USA deciding to play their normal weight takeout.
Gotcha, bro.
Okay.
They do not want to remove their own corner guard. That is the rock they started the end with.
9-5.
And, oh, that just nicked the corner guard on the back side.
Woo.
And barely made the takeout. See, but that's where I think a little more experience, this USA team will see that maybe the takeout really didn't give them enough production that they were looking for, especially when they're up against someone shooting as high as 75% against them in the thirds rocks. Zacco having just a fantastic game. And really punishing the USA. Look at that. Now that rock is underneath. USA is stuck hitting. They threw a corner guard. They were looking to generate some offense, and then they shift back to defensive tactics with all of the takeouts. I think this is where USA can grow their game. It will happen naturally the more they play. That will be a natural evolution. But now they're fighting kind of this rookie performance, this rookie environment that they're in, and they're playing against experienced skips and teams.
Sit on it. I'll take it. Sit on it. Sit on it. Sit on it. That's a beauty, Kirk.
But with the sharpshooting Kirk
That's a
Black,
beauty.
he ends up looking incredibly good after maybe a couple of questionable calls in this end.
Dajte normálne, daj.
So Rado knows that they're not going to remove both those stones. They're just going to try and come to the nose of the red stone, remove their own yellow stone from the back of the rings, and use the red stone to keep them on. If it overcurls, he can make the double takeout. If he makes the double takeout, he will lose his shooter. That's moving rapidly towards the corner. Does he got the double? Does he have the double takeout? No, just sits wide. And this is the way it goes in curling. That outstanding hit and roll from Kirk Black on his first shot leads to an opportunity for a multiple point score.
Getting by the guard with a 12-5.
What?
They had him here for a 12-5. They were just getting by the guard, so move you out.
The back and forth
There's
momentum
curl up a little
shifts
more than
happen in a nanosecond in this sport. One half shot, one way or the other, moves the momentum. When it was looking like all Slovakia for the first half of this end.
Easy.
With the draw here, USA can put the pressure back to the opposite side. It's gotta dig in.
Set. Set.
And it just does.
Wait.
Just hangs on to the back of the rings. Well, Slovakia being up by a single point. They realize, given the circumstances, they need to make an extraordinary shot to get out of this end, all things being equal. Dusan Pitonak, he really only blinked one end. He's having a great game. Had one soft end in the third where he missed both his rocks. Came back in the fourth, made two of the best draws of the tournament. And solidified his team's score of 3. And he's putting the pressure on again and again, rolling anywhere near that USA stone. Now all of a sudden, it helps set up a double takeout. USA's got to look at the other stones. They've got to navigate. They know they're grouping stones together. They'd love to have separation. With the great hit and roll by Pitonak, the chance for creating separation is gone, and now you have to focus on the precision hit and stick.
You like that, bro?
Yep.
So Steve Empt, USA moved him to these fourth stones position after their 8th game. It was a fantastic move for this squad. Everybody became a little bit more comfortable after the move. This rock.
The center line. That's my bad. Yep.
Just got a little light on that stone, and it curled more than they needed. And this is the momentum switch in curling. All of a sudden, this nanosecond here, right there, pulls the momentum back to the opposition.
Ale musí to byť donútra, hej? Kdekoľvek.
So now, with even an okay stone placement here, lots of options. They can guard their own stone. They'd love to come in the rings and sit 1 and 2. But the window's pretty big where this stone creates success for Slovakia.
12-9.
It can stop there. It can stop there. It can stop there. Oh, it can come right down into the rings. Center of the circle. The double takeout's there, but USA needs to focus on hitting on the nose, getting one. If they've got the angles and they get the double takeout, great, they can get 2. But the key thing here, that single point, and now where that stone lands, it puts USA to the other turn. They'd been throwing the clockwise rotating turn, and now they're going to the counterclockwise. So this is a different spot on the ice. It's not a repeat or a do-over of his first rock, and that's a ton of rotation. That is gonna run straight. It's got a lot of weight, but it works out.
That's all right.
A relief for USA, and those final stones from Steve Empt. He makes up for the mistake on the first one. Sticks around on the second. She'll be going first in the 6th end for Slovakia. We are all tied up. It's a great game. Checking back in with the stats. USA, steady, steady. Slovakia, getting better with each turn. You'd never know from the line score that Slovakia was just a bit down in the statistics. That's why it is so important, not just which shots you make, but what shots you call. USA getting caught a little bit between whether they're on offense or defense, and Slovakia getting beautiful execution at the right moments are really punishing them.
This nice stone, Penny.
So that rock just touches the scoring area. Slovakia, if they want, they can hit that stone out of play. They can also choose to throw a corner guard and get right into the offense and look to score multiple points, set up their opportunities. Now where Monica's rock sits, USA cannot take that rock out of play until Justin Marshall starts to throw.
Go, Penny. Go, US!
So their cheerleader in the back corner, Steve Empt, he hangs out back there, gives his skip, Kirk Black, someone to bounce ideas off of. This rock arcing nicely into the center of the circles.
13-7.
Needs a little bit more momentum. Just on the rings. So the skips take a look. They confirm that it's in, because remember, the free guard zone is still in effect. If that rock was 1 inch shorter, if that rock was just outside those rings, it could not be taken out of play. But because it's on, Slovakia's not going to let it sit there. They're going to take control of the area in front of the forefoot. And you can see now it is so difficult to get into the rings, and even if you do, Monica's rocks could be driven back into the field of play.
Thinking like 13-3. You got it.
Justin trains out of the Madison Curling Club. He's from Evansville, Wisconsin. He's looking for a draw weight. Wants to stop anywhere in the scoring area. And all these athletes, their draws, a lot of them are drifting to the back rings. I believe that the team that kind of masters keeping their rocks above that tee line, that bisects the scoring area, they're going to be the team that ultimately takes this final game of these Paralympic Winter Games. One of the coolest customers in the building, Rado Duris. If this hangs on, he could split or get right by and tap that stone out. Again, just great command of the opportunities available. That's the experience from Rado. If that rock had curled a little bit and he had ticked on the yellow stone in front of the rings, he would have split 2 on. But just getting by meant he could take out the USA stone in the back of the rings. Lots of good options.
Line's good.
Now Justin, he needs to a repeat of his first stone.
Whoa.
It's a bit wider line and it's running on them.
It's a nice stone.
It's gonna curl here at the end.
Beauty, Justin.
Comes right down into the rings.
Very
Sits
nice. Go, US.
just above the Slovakian stone and behind cover. That should make some of those USA fans happy.
Čo?
Že to, čo predtým ideme hrať.
Nevidíš ho?
Vidím.
This is the moment I'd love to see Slovakia just split their stone onto the rings, roll the shooter on, just open up the scoring area for them, put a ton of pressure on USA.
11-3. Touch.
It's good to have fans.
Beauty.
It's good to have fans.
Beauty.
And there's no doubt
12-5.
Dries earned those cheers with those 2 rocks.
12-2-5. A lot of backing.
Is that enough room?
No. It's about the middle.
Middle. There you go.
Right by. Hits the USA stone right on the nose. So the Slovakian stone that's sitting count on the other end of the rings, very difficult to get rid of. USA looking just to freeze up to it.
Good shot, Kirk.
And
That's a beauty, Skip.
this is a fine shot. There is very little space between the stone Kirk Black just threw and the Slovakian stone. It is very difficult to get that out of the rings. Now he's calling the split.
Split, Len?
11 a ten žltý si posuníme.
So this is the shot I wanted them to play on their last one. It would have changed USA's tactics. But they know they need to open this up. And if they can punch a couple of extra rocks into the rings.
Nie, posúvame si ho dovnútra, iba ten žltý.
Jaj. Posúvať.
It'll be a really good outcome for Slovakia. Zako settles in, gets comfortable with his cue. He's got to reset it. You don't want to risk throwing when things are not absolutely to your liking. This has got great line. Looks a little heavy, perchance. Oh, but he sneaks by. Oh, what an outcome. Not what was called, but that sits beautifully for Slovakia.
Like a 10?
Oh, those
What's behind
angles.
it?
What's that?
Nothing behind it, right?
No.
Super
You
tough
knows it,
for
we're good.
USA.
Why don't we throw that same weight?
And as the
They
rocks
threw-
start
they threw it,
climbing
they
the
threw.
rings, get closer to the guards,
Huh?
it's harder
They
to get
threw.
by and
Got
still
it.
make the takeout. With
12-6.
every rock, it's moving up the rings.
This is above the tee.
His third reminds him it's above the tee. So the tee is that line that bisects the center of the scoring area, bisects the house. This is a little wide. This rock's running on him. It might have a little bit extra weight. Starting to curl.
12.
It's got a lot of work to do. And doesn't get the job done. Pressure's going to be on the USA's fourth stones thrower, Steve Empt, with that miss by their skip. A hit and roll to the outside of the rings leaves Slovakia sitting 1, 2, and 3.
A kde ho trafiť?
Zako's wearing.
Kde ho chceš trafiť?
Tak, na komoru ideálne. alebo
Just the hit and roll.
Na komoru
Yep.
by trošku.
Oh, he doesn't like it. Had a bit of a balance problem there. Had a bit of a balance problem. If this hits on the outside, it could jam the USA stone into the Slovak stone in the back of the 8-foot. Oh, they get away with it. They get away with it.
Lepšie nech odišiel, aby tam nebol nastavený na double.
He didn't love it when he let it go. He knew he didn't throw it as cleanly as he wanted. Even so, he improves the situation for Slovakia. They're sitting 1 and 2 right now, and both those rocks are behind cover, and the cover is their own colored stone. USA, they've got to play defense by throwing the offensive shot, the draw shot. Steve Empt needs to pull his rock right down onto the face of the Slovakian stone.
12 seconds. Down there, get around the guard and sit on it.
So Steve made the call for me. Around the guard and sit on it. He's going to throw 12 seconds. That is the speed, the running speed of the rock between the hog lines or the foul lines. That's why they've got those stopwatches. They keep track of everything out there on the ice.
Carbon.
All right. All right. Good time, Penny.
Just too heavy.
Kirk, you get any time on that?
Yeah, it's 12.
So that's what he wanted to throw. He wanted to throw a 12. It was just too much weight. Now that can happen. Remember, most of the stones this end have been down this path. That's the 5th stone in a row down the same path. Each subsequent rock, the ice might pick up a little bit of speed, and being able to make that adjustment, and you kind of got to make it on faith if it's getting faster with each stone. And that comes with experience. But Slovakia sitting 2 rocks in the rings. They're going to try and lob a 3rd one in there.
13-1.
This has got great line. If it curls just a little bit more. Steady, steady performance.
You hit nose or just off nose.
Slovakia
and roll
looking
over.
just
Cuts them to
like it's
one.
easy now.
You hit nose. It takes out both of these, but you're exposed.
All right, well, we'll try to hit flop over.
9-5. 9-5, wait.
All right.
This may be the game on the line for USA here. It's the 6th end. Slovakia sits 1, 2, 3. They've got the last stone advantage. This is USA's last opportunity to make an impression on that score. Oh, and Steve Empt comes
Like it.
up big for USA.
Keep him to 1.
Good time. 10. 9-5.
Slovakia's got a couple options. They could try and run one of those stones out front of the rings into the USA stone. They can draw. He's thinking, why not? Let's go for it. You can see it.
A na kotvu, keď príde, tak nebude lepšie? Tuto na túto kotvu, tam.
So they're going to run through their options. He double checks with his vice. PyeongChang is ready. He's ready to go. His skip and vice skip, they're thinking about it. They're just going to play the draw. Sets the target wide. They've got to get around their own yellow stones on top of the house. So this is an adjustment. This is the other side of the ice. Weight's going to be different from one side to the other sometimes. Slovakia guaranteed a single point in this end. If this rock can come up and touch the forefoot, just overthrown a little bit. That can happen outside on the wings. You're just thinking that it might be a little bit slower out there. He had a bit too much momentum. It's all right. He's still having a great game. PyeongChang and company.
Yep. All right. In the 7th.
They take the lead. We've played 6. USA's got last stone advantage in the 7th. Where there was a statistical advantage to the USA, it is now pretty even. Scoreline isn't. Slovakia is up by 1. And this first stone in the 7th end, Slovakia is going to look to force USA, force their hand. I'd love to see this rock short and take advantage of that free guard zone. Slovakia chooses to put that rock right in the center of the rings. Maybe with their next one, they'll throw a guard. They know USA is going to try the corner guard, or they have a suspicion.
Nice stone.
Go PJ.
13-9.
Go US.
Debuting.
And the 47-year-old from Green Bay, Wisconsin gets USA off and running here in 7. Her counterpart from Slovakia. This is the 2nd Paralympic Games they've gone head-to-head with each other. She puts a 2nd stone right on top of her other stone. Good news for USA is that they can take it out. So you see Kirk Black tapping the top of his head. That's a weight signal, how much weight they want for this shot. Arenas can get quite loud. The fans are pretty involved in the games. There is a bit of distance down the sheet of ice, the field of play. That's a great shot from USA.
9-1-5.
Rado takes a look back as he makes his way down the ice. Just checking things out. Every time you change positions, the way you see the game changes a little bit. It's different from one end to the other. It's different from our vantage point through the screen. We get to see down on top of the rings in a way that the athletes just do not get to see. So Rado, he looked back over his shoulder and decided, yep, I like this. We're going to throw the guard. This one over curling a little bit. Sits in a pretty good spot, actually. Maybe just a bit long, but
Gotta take the guard.
well executed.
I can't see anything.
So USA's got to take the guard.
It's gonna be pretty straight. Yeah.
Now, I'd love to see Kirk Black look back over his left shoulder.
Gonna clean this. It's dragging something. Bottom of the stone. Okay.
Got this, Justin. Go US.
Thank you.
So Justin Marshall felt a little bit of debris underneath the bottom of the stone. He didn't like how it felt. He has the volunteer lift the stone and clean underneath it. Any little bit of debris can cause a significant negative reaction to the path of the stone.
Seven, 9-5.
So it's potentially a little congested in front of the rings.
Yeah. I figured it would stay like completely straight line.
Rado's going to try and put another rock back up there. Definitely this stone over curls this time. USA has full view of that stone now in the center of the rings. And if they could hit and roll underneath all three of the rocks on the other side of the sheet,
You like that?
they've potentially set up their
You like that,
score
bro?
of 2.
Yep. It's a beauty.
Just needs a little bit of a hit
Sit.
and a roll.
Sit. Sit.
Needed more weight.
Rolls out.
What's that, Justin?
What'd you get for a time?
That's the second, eh?
Yes. 925.
Needed more weight.
Gets a pretty, USA accomplishes the primary goal of that shot, getting rid of the Slovakian counter. They're just not getting the extra little bit of execution out of their rocks that they're looking for. Justin's rolled out quite a bit now. We've seen it 3 ends in a row. Started off really steady and then started rolling out. And that's setting Peter Zacko up for some opportunity here.
12-2.
He can draw in. It's running a little deep, but it's definitely going to be the shot stone. It's in the back of the rings. It's undercover.
12-2.
But we know how those stones curl at the end. That stone, USA can get to that stone. They're going to play a draw. They could tap it a little bit. The San Antonio, Texas half-year resident. He spends half his year in San Antonio, Texas, but he spends the winters in Madison, Wisconsin, where he trains for Team USA.
12-3. It's a nice stone, Kirk.
And he makes those choices so that he can make shots just like this.
Very nice.
Oh, my bad.
Look at the rock positioning there. That has Slovakia stymied. They cannot get to it. So they're going to try and outdraw it. Zacko's going to line himself up. He's got the same shot as he had last time. Just take a couple of feet off it. He wants to arc into the rings, simply arc into the center of the rings, tuck under cover, even half a stone under cover if it's shot. It's an outstanding position. There's some room for USA. They can still see it.
Nose, it'll be great. We'll get them both.
Nose would be great as well. It creates a difficult scenario for Slovakia. Not only would you make the double takeout, USA would sit 1, 2, 3. Slovakia would have a tough way into the rings. They'd have to shift to defense.
Come on back, come on back, come on back.
This one's wide.
Come on.
Overthrown a bit. You can see how much weight is on this stone. So that's that extra production I was talking about that USA needs to kind of grab after. They got the hit. They didn't get the nose. They didn't get the stick. They didn't get the double. They didn't get the roll. Shooter rolls out of play. And this leads to a chance. It opens the door for Slovakia to save the end. Pitanak. He's got the information from Zacko's rocks. They know how it's running, the speed. He's throwing his draws really well with high precision.
12-9.
Line looks great if it's got a little bit of distance. Sits out a little bit more distance. That rock would have tucked underneath.
9-5.
Yep. You see it all right?
Huh?
See it all right?
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All of it and some. All day.
Oh, yeah.
So Steve Empt confirming he can see it all, bringing his teammates into the process. And that's how he creates energy, those little connections throughout the game. Pulls his team together. Even though it's his shot to throw, he just pulls Justin into the conversation. Keeps everyone involved. And the math teacher
Good line.
ran his double check on the angles.
There you go.
A little more.
Sit.
Sit.
Stay.
And over curls
9-7.
a little bit, but look at those rocks. All of a sudden, there's some red rocks hanging around the rings. Anytime those rocks are in the rings, there's a chance that they could be hung on the scoreboard. Critical shot for Slovakia. He had the perfect weight the last time, just not the perfect line. Can they get both with this last stone of the seventh end?
12.
Great line. Fantastic shot. It was a little bit heavy, but they are shot in the back of the forefoot.
12 on this.
Yep.
For
Let's go shot,
USA
right?
to score two, they
that?
have to
Shot?
move.
No, they are shot.
Okay.
You got to
So
bump
12.
this back.
Got it.
There is a 1.5 feet between these. So you're just bumping this back
Yeah, we're just going down to it. Right?
with the bump. Yeah.
12
You're
seconds.
throwing like backline weight.
Okay.
12 seconds.
So those are the
12.
angles. That's the
11-8.
situation. There's very little margin for error
Come on.
here.
It's there.
Come on.
It's there. Just dive, though.
11-9. 11-9.
He's
Come on.
got the weight.
Come
Does he
on.
have the
Hit it.
line?
Come on. There you go.
Oh, that is a fine shot
Let's go, U.S. Go.
from Steve Empt. And the pendulum swings.
All right. Nice draw.
This time, it's into USA's favor. We'll play the final end of this championship for these two teams. USA is up by 1. Slovakia has the last stone advantage. USA, they've got the edge on the draw statistics. They've got the edge on the scoreboard. But Slovakia, they've got the last rock.
Steal. 2. Zone 2.
And they're going to look to put 2 more points on the board and take the win from USA. Penny Greeley. She's the 2004 sitting volleyball bronze medalist. She's going to do everything in her power to stop Slovakia from taking 2 points. And with that center line guard slipping just off to the wings. Not the perfect rock positioning.
A chceš dovnútra?
Hej.
Monica verifies, make sure she's on the same page. She knows exactly what Radoslav Doris, her skip, wants her to do. This rock coming into the field of play, the scoring area. Settles down out on the wings. USA has to chase that rock. They've got a 1-point advantage. They can't risk. If that stone stays there, oh, USA going for it, aggressive. They're putting up another guard. USA is going to go for the force. They're not hitting in the wings. They're going to use their lead strength to their advantage, and it is a strength. Penny Greeley's playing 85% with her draws. Just having a fantastic game. Monika Kunglova, she's been answering with authority. She's put 1 rock in the rings, hopeful for a second. Having quite the game herself.
How much of that you got?
You got it, Justin.
What do you have of that?
Potentially her last rock at this championship.
You do here?
She finished so strong.
You got it, buddy. Let's do this.
Normal.
So USA, they need a hit and a roll. Justin's rolled out on almost all of his takeouts in the second half of this game. Over curls.
9-2.
Hits the guard. That is not good for USA. I mean, obviously they missed the rock in the rings, but they also removed one of their guards off the center line. And at this point, once they stopped hitting, they needed those guards. Good news for USA is that Slovakia is going to leave the center line guard out there. It's a tough rock to remove. And it's hard to remove because of the yellow stones in the rings. You see the angles there. It is so tough to remove that rock.
To nejako nezdá. Tak.
Now they're talking about it. Should they be peeling? This might be an opportunity to bring their coach out.
Alebo môžeme
Zober time.
Ako?
Zober time.
strieľať guard? Nie?
Tak dobre, tak.
Radko, nezobereš time. Však už to je jednoduché.
Máš aj timeout.
And there it is. All of a sudden he realized, wait a minute, we're sitting game. We're sitting 1-2. The only way USA has out of this is a double takeout, a freeze, or somewhere to hide.
Tak je pravda, že keď je prázdnejšie, sa lepšie strieľa. Nemá sa to kde.
So they're going to look at the angles.
To bolo tesné.
Team meeting, and their coach, František Pitonak, will come out. and give him his best input.
A o čom ste rozmýšľali?
Ja by som išiel si tu posunúť. Ten žltý.
Tento, áno, jasné. Z tej strany pekne pôjdeš. Ale vieš čo, ja by som aj išiel za Chacku, akože.
Tu som chcel hrať z tejto strany.
Nie z tejto. Staďal. Lebo tu máš... Rozumieš. Akože máme my dva, dáme tretí do kruhov, hej?
Musíme, to sme sa bavili.
Že bude mať 3 a keby náhodou bolo zle, tak až potom tento vystrelíme preč, hej? Keby, že oni za ňoho dajú, ale si myslím, že to sa bude väčšinou streľať
Asi
teraz
áno.
už. A nech máme 3, hej? Že sa bude streľať, že na konci, keď nám odíde, že 2 nám tam ostanú.
Tak som si aj myslel. OK.
Zachádzku za červený gard.
No ale pôjdeme tu ako.
Tak?
Širšie, Monika. Viac, no.
So now the timeout is done. They get a minute of active time to discuss with their coach. They've got a couple of options. They're sitting 1-2. That's game. 1-2 is game. So they've decided they're going to try and secure game with a draw into the rings. Add a third rock down in there.
11-7.
This one's running a little bit heavy, but they've got some backing to run into. And now USA is looking at 3 rocks. Don't know that you're going to hit your way out of this situation for USA.
That backer is going to be good for us.
What do you think, Justin? Denny,
Either
come-
you
come
draw
here.
or you throw up another guard. A guard is dicey because then they're going to draw again.
I agree.
Yep.
You can come here. I don't know about hit.
Either down 2 or behind the guard, I think.
Draw down to it.
Let's go here.
Yeah.
So the man you need to buy into this shot completely
12-5.
had a bit of
Got it,
doubt.
Jay.
He wasn't sure.
Got
Justin
this.
Marshall wasn't sure. He needs to let go of that doubt and fully commit to the shot. USA cannot hit their way out of the situation they're in. So it's time for Justin to lean into this shot. It's potentially the last rock of this,
Come on.
of his really,
Come on.
his first Paralympic Games and only his second major championship, third major
11-9.
championship.
Nice stone. Stay.
Sit.
It's in a good spot. He's
Nice
shot
shot,
rock.
Justin.
It's tucked underneath the guard. It is behind the tee line,
Je
but
lepší.
at some
Ten
point,
guard strelí na druhej
USA
strane von.
can freeze on top of those rocks, make the rings really small. Now Slovakia's gonna peel. There's even more congestion in the rings than the last time they had the opportunity. This is gonna take a precision angle.
All right. I'm up, right?
Oh, just not what they were looking for.
12-5.
Coming this way, right?
You want to come this way? Why don't we come this way? That way, for sure, we keep up the center.
He's fine. That's plenty.
So USA
middle.
sits count now in the back of the rings.
No, it's I put it edge. Oh.
Okay. You got it, Kirk. You got it.
Oh,
I
fine.
got to use one of these.
I'd just throw it by
I haven't
hand.
learned to throw it by hand yet.
Well,
I haven't learned to throw it by hand yet, says Kirk Black. That's another one of the rules with wheelchair curling. These athletes, if they wanted, could throw with the more traditional hand to the handle delivery that happens in the Olympics. All of the athletes here at the Paralympics use the curling stick or the cue for their delivery.
In line.
Kirk Black's draw is away. It is. They're looking for above the tee line,
13-1.
underneath the yellow stone.
Come on.
It's got to go. It's a little short. It's okay there. Now there's 2 center line guards. If USA can somehow tuck behind there, make the rings as small as possible, they could force Slovakia to a single point or steal one and secure the victory. Zako will try and beat USA into that spot. Are they playing the run back on their own stone? And he's got it. Oh. He is talented. So powerful. When his delivery is under control and steady, he's one of the best out there.
I don't mind that.
Yeah, he's happy about that. That's a big shot.
Time.
Put your hands up.
It's such a good shot. USA are electing to take advantage of their opportunity to talk with the coach. Each team gets a single timeout. Rusty Scheiber makes his way to the ice. He'll run through the options with Team USA.
We actually have
Well, I tell you what, guys, now that this red one is here, this promotion is really nice. You guys have been drawing to that button forever, so I would think that you need to do it. These 2 aren't important. That's the one it is. Use your counterclockwise turn just like you've been throwing. If you come up a little short, you have something to push back. If you come up a little long, you have another opportunity. They're going to throw a guard over there, so then you're going to be working on the other side. So anyway, you've got your front door and the back door is open. One of them is going to be closed after they throw the next yellow rock. But they're going to be coming after your rock because you're going to be right in front of this side. Win a game, guys.
The last one through.
You know what you're doing.
All right, was here. It was 13-1. Okay. You got it, Skip.
So the advice from their coach, take advantage of the situation you've got. You've got double center guards in the middle of the ice. There are access points on both sides. They're going to try and take the wide open side, the counterclockwise rotating side. They want to draw in. Kirk Black, he's thrown 7 of them. He's made most.
Good line.
This has got really nice line. If it's got the right weight, it's going to sit completely buried. Slips a little long, but it helps the situation quite a bit. Outcounts a couple of the Slovakian stones in the rings. It might still be accessible. You can see coming off the board side, we've seen a lot of curl. Radoslav Duris taking a look at the options. Slipping back to talk to his third. Slovakia, one of the fastest teams out here. They've got quite a bit of time.
Nie, to ci tu zatočí, Peťo. To zatočí. 11.
The teams start the game with 38 minutes each. They've got 38 minutes to play all 8 ends. The way the clock operates, it's called thinking time. While you are thinking, your clock is running. While the stone's actively in play, your clock stops. For Zako, it's all about this setup. When he's steady, when he's smooth. He's got tons of opportunity. This is curling. Remember, it comes off these boards so hard. Over curls.
9-7.
Rex on the top guard. Slovakia still count. If everything were to end right now, the game would be tied. We'd head into an extra end.
12-5.
USA's got 2 rocks left. Their newly minted 4th stones thrower. It's his 3rd effort throwing these last rocks. The final game of the round robin. The final game of the Paralympics. This looks a little bit light, curling towards the center guard. Does he get by? Oh, just touches it.
13-1.
Creates some traffic in front of the rings, in front of that scoring area. It still leaves the other side open for Slovakia. Now,
Máš to ako tu.
Nechceš to takenúť? Takenúť, odídu obidva.
Pitonak. Dusan Pitonak. He is having a great game. One end where he had mistakes. He's got an opportunity to help solidify a win for Slovakia. They're down by a point. They're sitting count. They have the last stone.
11-1.
It looks like he has made a beauty here. All pressure on USA. Right now, Slovakia sits with game in the rings. Hopefully USA went to school on that last shot. If they follow that down.
I don't know if it's to the nose.
Come down and sit on that.
I think this is the shot.
I like that.
That cancels out this one.
We're just going T-line draw, just right down to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here.
Yep.
Just gotta make sure it's here.
You can make it through the hole or step back.
This is all about where USA knows the ice best, where to set the target, what weight to throw. They've been throwing on the other side of the sheet this entire end.
No, this is the shot. Okay. Yeah, it's backing. It's just a 12-5 draw. 12-5?
Oh, his positive attitude. The way he approaches these shots.
Right?
What's that?
You like the broom?
12-5, even like 12-2-5 with
Yeah.
the backing.
It's a great attitude. Let's hope that comes through on his shot. USA needs a significant performance on this rock in order to save the game.
Come on.
This spot has run straight a couple times with a little extra weight.
Get over.
12.
Get
Does
over.
he have the line?
Very nice.
Oh, comes through
Go,
big
US, go.
for USA. But there's an opportunity. Slovakia with this last rock. They know how to get down there. They tighten up the ice a little bit. The tap is available. Dusan Pitonak has a shot for the win.
Predtým som mal akú rýchlosť? Ale ja som to predtým na širšie ukázal. 11.
Slovakia's got 3 wins. With a well-thrown stone here, they've got a chance to move to 4 wins. Hold their place, their current place in the standings. Line looks great. Weight is absolutely perfect. And that is it. What a game. Dusan Pitonak. Absolutely stunning last couple of stones from Pitonak. USA did what they could. It was not enough in this final round robin game. I know they're disappointed with where they finished. They finished sixth at the last Paralympics, but Slovakia has got to be proud of that effort. Oh, and that's great to see. The support. Those fantastic sweaters. And Monika Kunklova, Radoslav, Doris, Peter Zatko, Dusan Pitonak. Secure that 4th victory for Slovakia. That's a happy scorecard to sign.
Ladies and gentlemen, here are the results for this session.
관중 여러분, 이번 경기 결과를 알려드리겠습니다.
On sheet A, Sweden 5, Switzerland 3.
시트 A에서는 2대5.
There's a look at the game. Penny Greeley. Extraordinary performance. Player of the game for USA. She was well matched in the battle at lead between Monika Kunklova, but Dusan Pitonak, he's the hero tonight in Slovakia.
Slovakia 7, United States of
He
America 6.
absolutely made the best shots again and again. Really only one end where he didn't perform. He kept his team together and pulled out the victory. Here's the final standings at the end of the round robin. Slovakia, 4-7 tonight. They hold their 9th place standing. United States, they're down near the bottom, but there's a lot to be thankful for and hopeful for these wheelchair athletes.
쾌적한 경기 연락을 위해 쓰레기는 지정된 쓰레기통에 버려주시기 바랍니다.
That concludes this session. We hope you'll join us again tomorrow afternoon. 3:35 is the semifinal game tomorrow.
Those are some happy fans. They saw some great games to conclude this round robin.
이것으로 이번 경기를 마치겠습니다.
USA knows it was a tough battle. Their athletes gave it everything they had.
내일 오후 3시 35분에는 준결승전이 진행됩니다.
the final round robin match from the PyeongChang 2018 Paralympic Games, we saw Slovakia, a veteran team, returning the majority of its players, take advantage of that experience and hand USA a loss in this last round robin game. Slovakia gets to close out the championship on a very positive note, and they will take that with them into the off season, and you'll see both these nations again, likely at the next Paralympic Games or at a World Championships before. Thank you so much for watching.